Got it. All right. So this is what the bread and butter, in essence, of this program. Okay. The bread and butter is the journals, what I teach my children daily, what my parents teach me daily, and then what I learned in school. Okay. I know, did you all get a chance to look at the journals?
Yes.
I have.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. Good deal. All right. So in that, let's go on ahead and push through it. Here we go. So if you open up the journals, you will see the table of lessons. Okay. And I pretty much split screened it so that you can see the table of lessons. It's 31 areas where you can actually input the date, because at maximum any month would have no more than 31 days, no less than what, 28. Okay. So the date, the lesson title, and the page number in the journal where you would start it. Okay. And so let's just take, like, from one of my books, or any book that you use, anything that you go through, whatever the case may be. The purpose of this is to get you to at least take anywhere from 15 minutes to possibly an hour, anywhere in that time frame, to just find something to teach them. Okay. If we could, no real wall that is made of brick is just plastered up there. It starts, especially the way our houses used to have been built. They were made brick by brick with the cement keeping it all together. And so if we want to increase the bonding and the love and the security needs that our children may or may not have, and we want to secure a tighter bond with them, it starts by the little things that we do. You will later learn that we are the collection, if you don't already know, you will later learn that we are the collection of our NEOM. And that's an acronym for needs, education, experiences, habits, and motivations. Needs, education, experiences, habits, and motivations. Okay. And so habits, what is a habit? The little thing that we kept doing over and over and over and over and over and over again until it becomes something that we unconsciously do. We have good habits, we have bad habits. Those habits, whether they be good or bad, they're hard to break because we are creatures of habit. Okay. So let's just take from one of my books, Mommy, Daddy, Please Teach Me. Don't just clothe me, teach me how to dress my best for years from now. A family I may have with boys and girls, ties and pearls, comb their hair, cut it too, maybe a dress, what size of shoes. How do I know what to choose? Teach me how so I don't lose. Okay. It becomes a thing of anxiety when boys who don't get the experience, in essence, many of them who don't get the experiences like girls. Sometimes if that boy becomes a father, becomes a man, and that man becomes a father, and the father has girls, there becomes an anxiety to actually, be able to assist the mom in certain cases with, maintaining and raising a little girl, and it's not about gender, so to speak. It's more so about skill and ability to be able to do that. Okay. We can even go so far into, it's more than just, was saying that you just don't know, you can ask, but what are barriers to adult learning based upon the barriers that were placed upon a child when they were attempting to learn as a child. Okay. So let's break that by giving our kids skills. So I put a workbook that actually goes along with that book. And this is one of those pages from that, my clothing size worksheet that you see on the left-hand side of the screen. Okay. My name is, it would be the child's name, who helped me with this worksheet, mommy, daddy, whomever, my height, my weight, hip size, inseam, what's a general size, small, medium, large, extra large, double X, 2X, 3X, all that stuff. Okay. What are the different differences in clothing sizes for boys and girls? I guess you ladies have 2, 3, 4, just a number system. I don't even know. Right. But that's something good to learn. Right. And it kills that anxiety when we start to give our children actual actionable things that they can say they've learned and something to reference to recall what they've learned. My hat size, head size, measurements, short sleeve, long sleeve, arm length, neck, waist, you get the gist of this. Okay. And so after you take them to the clothing store, be it Rainbow or wherever you go to, that becomes a lesson, right? Date, whatever date that was, lesson title, clothing page, whatever the case may be. And then you would go directly to that page. And this is, though it looks the same, it is different. One is from what I teach my children. my daily journal. And then what did my parents teach me today? So obviously date and time will be the date and time of that lesson title, clothing. What did I teach my children? Well, we went to Rainbow. I had to pick up some clothes for them. I'm like, man, you guys are growing up. So I went to go pick up some clothes for them. And I just took this workbook and we just talked about all these different things. I had somebody measure them, whatever the case may be. And we began to learn this and they learned the differences. Oh my God, they asked so much questions. I thought little Keisha was just not going to be quiet, but I love the fact that she engaged me. And I even have to recognize that maybe I need to develop more patience in teaching them because they're supposed to ask questions because they don't know, right? So everything I just said, that's what I would put in. What did I teach my children today? Not only what I taught them, but the honesty. You hear me? The honesty about how we felt, right? And then they are going to take their journal, provided they're able to write and communicate, and they are going to journal, right? Thank you, Ashley, for letting me know. I love it. She said, we're not shopping at Rainbow these days. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I I need to be taught, right? Okay. That just goes to show you how out of touch I am. Don't get me wrong. I've taken my daughter shopping, but my oldest daughter is she 12 now. And we'll go to like Victoria's Secret and she'll buy age appropriate clothing, right? And the smell goods and stuff, and I kind of, don't be like in the area, but I see what she buys and I'm watching that stuff. But even then I don't know, right? But I know what looks appropriate and what I'm not gonna, you get where I'm going as a father. But she should embrace her femininity. So there are things that we have to learn too, right? So what did my parents teach me today? Well, my dad took me in the clothing shop and yeah, certain things I couldn't get, but there are certain things that I could. And I like that he, took an interest in me and things of that nature. Now, after they get through journaling and after you get through journaling, that's why I just confined it to just that one page. You need to summarize, right? Just a little Hershey's kiss, right? Just a little Hershey's kiss. Don't do half the page, right? Make an honest effort, right? What you taught them, what you felt about it, what they taught you, what your child believes that you taught them, and what they felt about it. You two are going to switch journals. You will read theirs, they will read yours. That will spark more conversation if it does, which it normally will. Then after that, you both sign each other's journals, and then we keep that going every day. If we can't take away 15 minutes to an hour to devote to our children, we got some issues. We got something we got to focus on. Okay. We definitely got something we got to focus on. So in that, here's another lesson, right? Don't just cook. Teach me how. I'll need to feed myself somehow. A family I'll have someday to cook for them a million ways. Well, boys don't always get a chance to be in the kitchen. I mean, if they do, cool, but mostly it's the ladies in the kitchen. So make it a thing where you're both teaching them, And again, in that workbook, and you don't have to use my books. You can use whatever you choose to, I just try to make it easier, right? My 4 favorite dishes, right? Favorite dish number 1. What's the name of that dish? What cooking utensils do I need? Why did I put it like this? Because you want to get them to write it out to express themselves, right? You can also be able to look at it as a parent for any content, spelling, punctuation, or grammar errors, right? Ingredients, what go into that dish, the measurements, what's the ingredient name, then how do they make the dish? And then they can draw it or take a picture of it and put it in there, right? And again, of course, that creates another lesson. You already get it. Let's look at this table of lesson sheet. Just imagine all of these slots filled. Just imagine that for 1 month, you sat there and taught your child 30, 31, or even 28 lessons, right? Just imagine these journals, 365 lessons, right? We all have our moments as parents where we may feel, we question value. And if you don't, you're lying to yourself. You question value. The kids may say something and it triggers this. Mom or dad, you didn't teach me this. Imagine being able to go back to these journals and being able to, 1, show that either you did, or 2, take accountability for the fact that you didn't, or 3, hold them accountable for what they learned and what you taught, and then they need a refresher. So now our punishments, if you will, we don't have to look at them as punishments. We can look at it as remediation, right? Go back, look at your journals, bring them. Come on, we're going to talk about it. And I want you to write a 1-page, 2-page paper, 3-page paper on how many times we talked about it. What were those lessons? Did you forget anything? Did I forget anything? Did we do? You can make it more rich, right? Here we go. You already know what to do on this. What did I teach my children? What did my parents teach me? You don't have to make it long. Just make it short, make it impactful. Because remember, what you're putting in here, they're going to read. Don't lie to your kids. And don't let your kids lie to you. You all be honest about this, okay? And we just want to create the habit of doing this. That's what this journal is about. And I can guarantee you, I know I see the change in the relationship that I have with my son. It's getting extremely better. I mean, I wish I had this years ago, so it's time to make that change. Here we go. How many of us work a lot, have a job or a career, work every day of the year? Don't just work. Teach me how. You make money for me somehow. A skill or trade I will need soon, my job to do for me. Well, how many parents sit there and say, you don't know what I have to go through when I do what I do? It's so hard. You don't know how hard it is at work. And you know what? You're right. They don't know anything about what you do, except they kind of passively hear you talk about what you talk about. So here we go. How about have them interview you, right? This is again from my Mommy Daddy Please Teach Me Coloring and Activity book, right? In-house career day, starring my parents. What is a job? What is a career? What do you, my mommy, do for a living? What do you, my daddy, do for a living? What does my stepmommy, stepdaddy, second mommy, second daddy, or guardian do for a living? How long have you been doing your job? What's the easiest thing, the hardest thing? What do you have to know how to do in order to do your job? Do you have to go to school and graduate? Is your career or job dangerous? Do you like your job or career? Do you help people? How, right? What job or career did you do before you did this one, right? What made you leave? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Could you see me doing that? Would it be too much trouble if you taught me how to do your job, right? So now they take an interest in you because they get to interview you, and you take an interest in them because you get to teach them actually what they do. How do you expect them to understand if they don't know you or what you even do, right? And guess what that becomes? You guessed it, another lesson for each of you all to put down, and another journal entry. What did I teach my child today? What did my parents teach me today? Okay, another journal entry. Okay, so I'm sure you all are getting it, because here we go. In talking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it becomes hard for them to solve the problem of whatever you want them to learn if they're stuck somewhere down here. And a great percentage of people who have insecurities and self-esteem issues, it occurs because the family doesn't show through lessons that they belong, that they are loved, things of that nature. And it doesn't apply to every family, but does apply to a percentage of them. I will leave that to you to assign that value, okay? Family matters. It really, really does, okay? There's a problem solving right there. It occurs all the way at the top of that pyramid. Morality, creativity, problem solving, lack of prejudice, acceptance of facts, right? So that's pretty much where we are. Let me ask you this question. What kind of learner is your child? And you all can open up your mics and speak on that. Better yet, let me ask you before we get to that question. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt. What do you think about what we just talked about before we even get to this question? What do you think about what we just talked about the journals? You have any questions about that? I yield.
No questions.
Was there anybody else?
I feel like my child is a hands-on learner. Mommy, look at me. 1 second, babe. I feel like my child learns better when I show her stuff versus me trying to tell her. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. It absolutely does. Because you get some people that'll sit there and say, well, don't you understand what I'm talking about? Or I heard one lady in the laundromat who was like, you know, all I can do is tell you. And I'm like, I said it in my mind. I didn't say it to her, but I'm like, yeah, that's probably the reason why whoever you said that to wasn't understanding, because that's not the only style of learning. But I'm glad, Tiara, that you answered that question that way. Anybody else? What type of learner is your child?
My grandson learns best through music.
Absolutely. So that sounds like a audio learner where he has to hear it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Ashley, if you don't mind sharing.
I have three daughters, so um, I would say for all of them collectively, we're pretty hands-on with everything. Like I've been showing them how to do the laundry, you know what I'm saying? How to start the washing machine, how to clean the lint, from the dryer and, things like that. So we're pretty hands-on as well.
Sorry about that. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I like how she said we are pretty hands-on. And I do know Ashley definitely shows her daughters a lot of things. So that's very great, very great. Because like I said, well, we don't teach them now. Life will teach them later. And most of the times that lesson is painful and re-triggers a lot of traumas. So we got to cut that off by teaching them now. Okay. So do you all pretty much understand the assignments of the journals? And you don't have to make it complicated or anything like that. The gist of the journals is just to get you into small habits which become, it's like, Ashley, you're a chef. Those of you all who haven't checked out Chef Ashley, you got to check her out at her food. That's going to also be, a part of that as well, because cooking is everything. I need it to be a part of my life besides eating. Yes. But you can't be the type of talented chef that she is and not be hands-on. You can't be the type of talented daycare provider that Tita is and not be hands-on. You can't just tell them. You actually have to show them what they need to do. So it's a lot of value that I believe you guys are going to get out of this. Okay. So do you all get the gist of pretty much what we're doing with the journals?
I do.
Oh, okay. All right. No problem. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.